But first up, he was a war hero. He certainly was an activist, a senator, a secretary of state, and the 2004 Democratic nominee for president, whose new memoir is Every Day is Extra. John Kerry. How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Great to see you, as always. You know, it's when they were giving you the standing ovation, I just stood next to you, like basking in it, like some of it's getting on me.
Actually, I noticed that you sat down very quickly.
But listen, it's always an honor to have you.
Delighted to be with you.
Talk to you, anything with you. But I must say, I read Trump's tweet about you today, and apparently you're bad. Very, very bad with big letters. B, look at that, B-A-D at the end, bad. What did you do, John Kerry, that was bad?
I don't know. I think I told the truth.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, he's mad at you. He's mad at you because you're out of office and you met with
the... He's the first president that I know of who spends more time reading his Twitter likes than his briefing books or the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he's saying that you're a bad person because you're out of office and you met with the Iranian, or talked to the Iranian.
Well, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's
everybody does. Well, Henry Kissinger for 40 years has been traveling to Russia, traveling to China, talks with the leaders. There's absolutely nothing, unusual about it. The conversation I think he really ought to be worrying about is Paul Manafort with Mueller.
It's giant.
I mean, it really is giant, and soon you will be hearing him say that's the worst deal that's ever been made. But when you stop and think of it, I mean, it's gone from the art of the deal to the art of the squeal, and it's really I've never seen, I honestly have never seen anything quite like it. The anonymous op-ed, the Woodward book, the chronology of everything that's been happening. And it's tough, We've always relied on our democracy getting better, being stronger when people tell the truth, and we're based on the truth. Democracy is based on the truth. And unfortunately, we have a president, literally, for whom the truth and nothing but the truth, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, is three different things. And you don't even know what they are. He has, I don't want to get into a real riff on this, but I got to tell you, he's the, well, I mean,
John Kerry.
He really is the rare combination of a 8-year-old boy. I mean, he's got the maturity of an 8-year-old boy with the insecurity of a teenage girl. This is who he is.
And a mean girl. A very mean girl.
Mean girls. I mean, it can be mean.
But when you talk about truth, I mean, it's so interesting. You're a truth teller. I mean, you're talking in glowing terms about the truth. But people don't really like truth tellers. Well, I know that too. I mean, these people like me. But not even always them. Because when you really tell the truth, like you did about Vietnam, that's what they really hated you for. When they, in 2004, which was kind of the beginning of fake news.
Correct.
The campaign they ran against you.
That's correct.
A true war hero, and Karl Rove said by the end of this election, they won't know which side he was on. Right? I'm sure you remember that.
I remember it clearly.
They don't, you told the truth when you got back from Vietnam.
I did tell the truth.
It's never appreciated in its own time.
Well, sometimes choices you make are not appreciated in their own time, but I am very comfortable that I not only told the truth, I believe all those veterans who came back from Vietnam, many of whom had a very difficult time, and they joined in telling the truth. And I am convinced that we brought the war to a close sooner, that we saved lives by telling the truth. And all you have to do is look and see Ken Burns' recent film that documents how early the lying began.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the fact that John McCain and I then were able to come together. John exhibited a kind of, large personality that could forgive and move on and knew the importance of working in bipartisan fashion. And so John and I together decided we're going to end the war at home and abroad. And we spent 10 years and we made peace with Vietnam. And for the better part, not everybody, but for the most part, by bringing 700 remains of servicemen home from Vietnam so families could have closure, I think we went a long way to making peace here at home.
So, it seems a long time ago, and it was. And you know, your book is a memoir. It must be bittersweet when you. I'm probably approaching the memoir right in years, and.
Well, you've been here. I just was reminded you've been here for 16 years.
Yeah, here and.
By the way, I was with your producer just before I came out, and I stopped him in mid-sentence, and I said, "You want to know the stupidest thing that's on TV today?" And I pointed to the TV, and there was a weather guy out there getting soaked with the wind blowing. And I couldn't believe it.
I was gonna. Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
I said
because first of all, it's a local weather story. Also, it was a Category 5 at the beginning of the week, which they were thrilled about because they love that. Yeah. Americans love to watch a palm tree swaying. Like that's, you could show the footage from any year. But
true.
When it got downgraded to a Category 1, they didn't downgrade the coverage.
No, it's true.
While there's so much consequential things going on.
But they made the commitment. They had everybody out there.
If I wrote a book about cable news, it would be called Fool in the Rain. Okay, so, but I mean, you were in Vietnam, then, you know, 9/11, and that we've been doing that ever since. Now we're back to the Russians. It seems like we're always mixing it up with somebody. Is it us? Is it just being the biggest, baddest guy?
No, we're living in a very complicated world today. And it's a world in which we play, I think, the essential role, normally. This is not normal. What I learned as Secretary of State, I knew it, but what I learned in a very personal, tactile way was the degree to which people all over the world look to us to help lead. And we lead. We're on the brink of having the first generation of children born AIDS-free in Africa. That's because of our program. We did that. We faced Ebola. I remember sitting in the Situation Room in the White House. We were told 1 million people are going to die in the next 4 months. And President Obama said, no. You know, we're going to send 3,000 American troops over there, which had its own risks. We worked with the French, we worked with the British, and each took a country in West Africa. We stopped Ebola in its tracks. I mean, these are the, and you can run around the world. I said during our administration that I believe that we dealt with more crises simultaneously with greater impact on behalf of our country than at any time in history, from the South China Sea to what's happening in Central Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, what was happening in Syria. Now, it didn't all have the outcomes that we wanted to achieve. And I write in my book, I mean, Syria remains the open wound. It's a failure of the entire international community to make the peace. But we tried, we cared. I always said to my folks in the department, don't be scared to get caught trying. Right. And that's what we did. And the trying saved lives. We got a ceasefire here, a ceasefire there. For those people in that ceasefire for 3 weeks or a month or 2 months, they're alive today. And they wouldn't have been if we hadn't done that. But I always argued we needed some way of holding us out a little more accountable.
So what do we do when we only have two parties and when only one side plays decently? You lost a very close election.
One state, 65,000 votes in one state.
You could have contested it. Al Gore could have went a lot further with his protest.
Well, Al Gore was elected President of the United States. This wasn't counted.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it's sort of a Hobson's choice. We don't want to act like them, but we seem to be getting our ass kicked because we're the only ones playing by rules. Al Gore gave that debate book back, remember? When he got the debate book, he said, no, this isn't cricket. Now, do you think that if in 2020 Trump is running again and he finds out that Putin helped him, he'd probably asking for his help, but say he wasn't doing that, do you think he'd report it? Of course not.
No.
What do you do when only one side plays by rules?
Well, if you believe in America and you believe in the decency of our democracy and our system, I think Richard Nixon proved this. I think other presidents have proven it historically. Politics, life proves it. If you sleep with dogs, you come up with fleas. If you go down to
they
their
get on all of us.
Well, but we can win by offering Americans a better and real agenda that improves the lives, not of the billionaires, but of all Americans. If we do that, if we go out and show the ways in which they're attacking democracy, I've always believed in the truth. I believe in it now. And I think if you hold people up to account publicly, that includes President Putin or little green men running around in Ukraine or wherever it is, shed light on it, push it in all the fora that are available to you. But you've got to honor the rule of law, because if you go outside of it, it won't have its meaning anymore when it needs to. And I just
hope
deeply
you're right
believe
about that.
Well, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
John Kerry, good luck with the book. It's a terrific read. You're a terrific guy. I appreciate you coming here. John Kerry.